Game of Thrones is an American fantasy drama television series created for HBO by David Benioff and D.B. Weiss. It is a direct adaptation of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin and a series of fantasy novels. The series is set in the fictional continents of Westeros and Essos at the end of a decade-long summer. The story has ran over 5 books and 3 seasons. It shows the power struggles of several noble families in a civil war to be ruler of the Iron Throne. The plots interweave through morally ambitious characters, and the series explores the issues of social hierarchy, religion, loyalty, corruption, sexuality, civil war crimes, and punishment, with twist and surprise in every episode or page turned. Since the show's first aired, it's received countless awards and praises by critics and directors alike. The show has a broad fan base and is shown in countless countries. With not only the show being seen in countless countries, the show's scenery is really relatable to the vivid description that George R.R. Martin explains throughout his series. The show films scenes from everywhere all over the planet. However, the main sources of their scenery is in North Ireland, Malta, Scotland, Croatia, Iceland, Greenland, and the most remote parts of Africa. Game of Thrones roughly follows 3 storylines of Song and Fire and Ice, set in the fictional 7 kingdoms of Westeros. Game of Thrones chronicles the violent dynamic struggles among the realm noble families for control of the Iron Throne. As the series opens, additional threats begin to arise in the north and in the eastern continent of Essos. Both the novels and the TV series originate settings, characters, and plot elements from a broad period of European history. However, with most of it dealing with a more medieval and Iron Age feel. The budget of Game of Thrones has been compared to that of the TV series Rome. The pilot reportedly cost HBO between $5 to $10 million. And the total budget for the first season has been estimated to $50 to $60 million for Game of Thrones. In the second season, the show obtained a 15% increase in the budget in order to be able to stage the most important parts of the battles seen throughout the book Clash of Kings, and the civil war that is focused on throughout that whole season. In the background is the show's title sequence, which in 2011 the show won an Emmy for Most Outstanding Title Design. It depicts a 3-dimensional map of the series' fictional world. As the camera swoops across the map to different locations where episodes take place, a clockwork system lets these buildings come to life and emerge and unfold out the ground like they would pages of a book, which is George R.R. Martin's goal for the series, is caring and investing in the location and the characters which you read or watch on television. With this series gaining popularity, with all their success, it has also came with a whole bunch of controversies, with many claiming the show too violent and too sexual in nature. However, many critics argue this statement by just simply stating it's HBO, which is not new or uncanny for programs on HBO to show a little bit of violence or scenes sexual in nature. This list shows the top 10 pirated series of 2012, with Game of Thrones being at the head of the list. The show has been the most pirated series for a second year in a row. In 2013, which the 3rd season was downloaded by 5.2 million people, which is 25% higher compared to the last season. When the CEO of Time Warner commented, they pointed out unauthorized watching leads to more subscriptions for HBO, which in the long run is better than an Emmy. However, the repercussions for the show getting pirated is also a loss of revenue for HBO. Some could argue what the core demographic for the series is. However, to me, I believe it's the people who have read the books. This is an argument with strong points on either side due to the diverse fan base. However, in my opinion, the people who have read the books initially were the ones who pushed for a live adaptation for HBO. Although the show is marketed for people over 21, it has a diverse fan base for being a fantasy show about dragons and knights. However, I think its popularity stems from it being similar to the Lord of the Rings series. In conclusion, this show has a diverse cast with a very deep and compelling story. It's one of the staple shows on HBO's nightly lineup, and it is shown with other big hits such as Boardwalk Empires, Girls, and True Blood. The show may have nudity and violence, but the core audience is a very loyal group of consumers, and it is steadily growing.